If you have ringing, buzzing, tapping, or anything with your ears right now, you need to file an intent to file for a VA disability claim for tinnitus. Why? Because VA law is proposing to change the way the VA rates tinnitus, and it will be less favorable for you when the law is passed than it is right now. So this is very important. This is a very important video. If you have tinnitus, or you think you have tinnitus, or you have any of those symptoms, it's extremely important to go on va.gov, click the button to file a claim, which will force you to get an intent to file in, securing it, and that will protect you from any changes that may occur in the next year. It'll grandfather you in for get a tinnitus rating at the current favorable rating criteria. And I'm going to talk about all that today. I'm basically going to talk to you about why you want to do that, like why the current law is better for you now than it will be, or at least in my opinion. And then I'm going to talk about the proposed changes that are coming up. And then I'm going to jump in and just talk to you about what you should do right now and moving forward. So, number one, at the current situation, with the way the current law is written, tinnitus is rated as its own diagnostics code. So it has its own place in 38 CFR, and VA raters view tinnitus as a standalone condition. It's diagnosed, and if you have it, it's actually really easy to file for it and get it approved. I think it's the most common disability that's filed for with the VA. It's probably more vets have it diagnosed and get that 10% rating right now than any other condition. And it's automatic. I shouldn't say automatic, but it's almost automatic. And if you get it, you automatically get a 10% rating, whether it's in one ear, both ears, as long as, and it's probably the easiest one to file for without having a current diagnosis. Most VA examiners, if you file for it and they agree that you have it, will just diagnose you on the spot and you'll get the rating, and it's 10%. And there's so many different secondary conditions that you can add to this disability at this moment, that really makes it a high value claim, even at the 10% level. So that's why it's important that if you have those symptoms, you don't delay. This should be like a priority in your life. File that intent to file so that you can get grandfathered into the old way. Now, the new way hasn't been approved, but what's proposed right now is for them to change this to a symptom of other conditions. Why are they doing that? There's medical evidence out there that says that tinnitus is an underlying condition of other disabilities, and so it sounds like they want to change that to represent those medical facts. They want to rate it as a symptom to other disabilities, such as like hearing loss or Meniere's disease, and probably a host of other ones. And that's great, but the problem is that, although it's only a 10% rating, it's a good 10% rating. Probably a lot of vets get encouraged by the fact that the tinnitus, which is very common in vets, that you get that 10% rating almost automatically, and it makes you feel like you got some points on the board. It makes you feel like you actually got something approved, because as we all know, getting a VA rating isn't the easiest thing to do. But for tinnitus, as long as you do your paperwork right and you have it, it's very easily service connected, because it's a presumptive condition. So that 10% is nice, right? A couple $100 a month in your paycheck, it's outstanding. With the proposed changes, what we know right now is that 10% rating will only happen under hearing loss. So if you currently have hearing loss and you're at a 0%, and you add in the tinnitus, the symptoms of tinnitus, the proposal is to give you 10%. But if you're like my father-in-law, he has hearing loss at, I forget what he's at, but he's at a decent number for hearing loss, and he also has tinnitus. So let's say he has 30% for hearing loss. He also has 10% for tinnitus. But under the proposed changes, if you have a 30% or a 40 or 50 or whatever the rating criteria is, you won't get the extra 10%. unless you're at 0 for hearing loss. So that's a huge chunk of a percentage to take away. The good thing is if you have hearing loss at 0 and you get tinnitus, or you have tinnitus, or you have symptoms of tinnitus, under the proposed changes, it'll bump your hearing loss up to 10%. But you're really losing out, because you would normally have 0%, and let's say it's increased to 30. That 10% just kind of goes away, and you stay at 30. So so that will be taken away when you do that. So I also feel like it might be a little bit more difficult, you have to actually get on the board for hearing loss. So if you don't have hearing loss, but you have tinnitus, we don't know exactly what the VA is going to rate that as. I think that they would rate it as tinnitus and give you a 10% rating anyways. So I feel like we'll be safe, but this proposed, change hasn't went into effect yet. So we don't really have any way to compare it to anything. So what should you do? If you have those symptoms, you have to put in an intent to file. And how do you win a tinnitus claim? Because believe it or not, many vets probably do get this one denied. It is a presumptive condition, so it is easy, but it's not automatic. So how do you file for tinnitus and win in the way it's currently viewed by the VA? You got to do a couple different things. Number one, you've got to write a personal statement. You have to write down, why you think you got this, right? Or you at least have to write down loud noise exposures that you had while you were in the military. So if you were with a certain job or MOS that was exposed to loud noises, that should be one of the first things that you write in your personal statement. You should write down that you were infantry, you were, weapons, you were engine mechanic, whatever, or aircraft mechanic, or whatever it is, and talk about your loud noise exposures that happened during the military, and that will help you. With service connection under the presumptive condition. There's also MOSs that will also assist you in getting over the hump for service connection. And really, that's it. I mean, most of the time I would tell you that you want to go out and get a diagnosis. You can, but this is one of those ones that I've noticed in helping other veterans, and including myself, that you can write a personal statement, an honest personal statement about your military time. Talk about the different jobs that you've had, or if you were exposed to an incident where you did experience maybe some hearing loss, or you just remember it happening, an explosion, and just at that moment you had ringing in your ears and it's just never stopped. That is something outstanding to write in that personal statement to really show the VA rater, what you're dealing with. You also do want to talk about frequency and how often it is. But no matter what, the frequency is and how much it impacts your life, that's not going to influence how high of a rating that you get with the VA. But it will help you with service connection. And so really that's the thing that we need to prove with tinnitus claims, is that service connection. And like I said, it's presumptive, which means the military or the VA presumes that it was connected to your service. And therefore, it's a really easy one to win. And I don't want the veterans that are listening to this video today, currently, under the old way of doing things, the old law, I don't want you to miss out on the way it's currently structured, because I think there's a lot to gain from getting this one on the books for you. And I suffer from tinnitus, so I want to make sure that you get that rating that you deserve if you also suffer from ringing in the ears. This is an important one, and one that I don't want you to miss out on. So if you're within earshot of this video and you have those symptoms, you need to file for this claim. Please put any comments or questions down in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe to this channel if you found anything useful. Check out my website. I have a free digital download that'll help you out if you're a first timer with VA disability. This is just a brainstorm worksheet. I think it'll help you out. I also have a directory of medical professionals on the website that'll help you with secondary conditions, nexus letters, etc. All that stuff's free for you to access. just check it out. The link's in the description box below.